So it's June 5 today. We got rain coming tonight, and I'm going to get a Milo blend drilled into the ground. This is going to be a 4-way blend of red Milo, sugar beets, rutabagas, and soybeans. And this is a process that John has put on his channel. I will drop a link to that video in the description below if you want to check that out. But what I'm going to do here today is just show you the way I go about doing this. There's several different ways you can do it, and this is the way that's going to work best for me. And I got about 6 hours before the rain hits, so I'm going to get moving.
A couple years ago, I started planting Milo by itself in long strips as a visual screen to break up large food plots. This was a special red Milo I bought from Northwoods Whitetails, which gets a little taller than the normal Milo, being sold at feed and farm supply stores. It grew pretty good in my poor soil right along with the weeds, and the deer never touched it all summer until the grain heads matured in October. They taste like corn, and the deer demolished it during bow season, but by firearm season there was nothing left. So last year, John at Northwood started planting a blend of early and late season food in his plots in the UP. He combined his red Milo with peas, sugar beets, and rutabagas. It did really well feeding deer through the early and late season. A couple things he noticed was he wished he would have increased the row spacing of the Milo from 15 to 22 inches, and instead of using peas, he's going to use soybeans this year. So that's what I'm going to be planting in 2 different plots that I had rye and red clover growing in from last fall. The rye had to be terminated 3 weeks ago because planting in a green rye would have a negative impact because of its allelopathic effect on other grasses like Milo. I'll be drilling in the soybeans first by themselves because the seed size is so much bigger than the other 3. Even though this drill can plant 8 rows, I'm only going to plant 3 rows at 22 inches apart so the soybeans don't shade out all the other plants. Now you can buy steel plates to shut off the rows you don't want seed going through and get seed box dividers, but I'm only planting 1.5 acres, so this cardboard with tape will do the trick. I set the seed depth wheels to about 1 inch, but can still adjust the depth in the field by tilting the drill. I'll have no problem getting to 1.5 inches deep since these plots are pretty sandy. After drilling half of the plot east and west, I stopped to add a seed treatment which is supposed to promote better root and plant growth. I'll be posting an update video on those results later this summer. Now that the beans are in, I use a vacuum to suck out the extra seeds and set the drill to plant Milo and sugar beets. These seeds are about the same size, and I'm only planting 3 rows of each of these at 22 inches wide. Since they're a lot smaller seeds than soybeans, the drill had to be dialed back to about 5 pounds per acre, and the seed depth wheels had to be raised to only about 1/2 inch deep, and then double check the actual depth during the first pass. By now it's starting to sprinkle, and the radar was showing I'm about to get soaked. Since the Milo will be the tallest of these 4 plants, I drilled these in north and south to allow more sunlight into the rows at high noon. I also added the seed treatment after planting half of the field. Since it doesn't work on brassicas, I only added it to the Milo pockets. The last seed to go on are the rutabagas. These are really small like most brassicas and can be broadcasted if you have rain in the forecast to pound them into the ground. This couldn't have worked out any better. In order to get good even coverage when broadcasting, I walked east and west with half the rate and then north and south for a total of about 3 pounds an acre. Thankfully it rained for the next several hours. The next morning I sprayed both plots with Dual 2 Magnum pre-emergent herbicide and followed that up with 1 pass of full spectrum liquids according to the soil test results. We were fortunate to get more timely rain in June, and after 8 days we had liftoff. 3 weeks later, things are looking good, as well as my nemesis, the dreaded horse nettle weed, which were already in these plots. But I think every year I'm gaining ground on them. Now, if you don't have a tractor and a drill, that doesn't mean you can't plant the same Milo blend. In John's video, he explains how to do it with ATV spreaders or hand spreaders. There's a link to that video below. I'm looking forward to watching the progress of these plots this summer and how the deer use them this fall. So if you want to follow along, hit subscribe, leave a comment below, and I'll see you on the next video.